5 red lights on the clock and extend it. Tomas get pulled! Why has Rian retired? Abry's up to 7! Oh Jesus Christ! The world champion.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the URC. You join myself, Shamrock and Leopold here in Belgium. Leopold, welcome in.
Welcome. Time for what is going to be the longest feeling qualifying session of the season. Because it's Belgium.
Absolutely, it's one of the longest tracks we've had so far this season, but it should be an exciting one for sure. We have a very few low numbers tonight, unfortunately. Hasn't been a great week for attendance, but yeah, what can we say about this track? Leo, do you like this track? You a fan of it?
I think it's probably, to get right on the calendar, one of the trickier ones, because you've got sectors 1 and 3. Very easy, mostly flat out corners with a couple braking zones, but then sector 2 you need that little bit of aero as well, so it'll be interesting to see what way mainly people have gone with the setup. Have they just prioritized 1 and 3, or have they put a little bit of compromise in to get that pace for sector 2 where our first driver's coming through now?
Absolutely, yeah. The first driver going to be setting a lap in this session will be Yari, so looking at his recent performances, P5 last week, P3 in Japan, he's been on a good run of form considering his start to the season. What do you make of him, given you were at Red Bull and you were his team principal? Technically you're still at Red Bull, given you're giving your assistance to him. What do you make of him as a driver?
Yeah, I mean, he's very good when he gets a track together. I think he has been struggling a bit this week with Belgium, but it hasn't helped. He's been switching hardware. He's got a new wheel now. He's learning his traction control off finally, and Jidarachi's out.
Damn.
He's hit the wall.
Well, it's an easy. I've lost the car there before myself, to be honest.
Yeah, he's hit the wall on the exit of Stavilo and just ended up out of the session. Unfortunate for... And Yari's gone for a spin.
Oh, I just saw that there.
It's a great start to the session for every driver so far. So that puts us with Quiet Boy, an absolute menace to anyone driving, as the first man setting a lap here. And definitely someone that can put the pace down when he wants to. It's been a good first sector as well. Expect to see times edging towards the 41s, I think, tonight.
Where's Quiet Boy?
It'll be very close.
It's just showing where the constructors are and everything, but other than that, we're fine. We're back to the track. Keeping it very brief. Yeah, do you want to take us through the rest of that lap, Leo?
Yeah, so it's been very neat and tidy through Sector 1, a good looking start to Sector 2, and as he comes through now into these chicanes, it's very difficult on this exit to really nail it. You've got to kind of compromise the first part to get it well, but now, as he comes towards the corner I always forget the name of, which we head down now towards Blanchimont, it's how much battery do you have left is the question. How much can you deploy for the rest of the lap? That's really the only thing that's going to affect lap time here, because if you use a bit too much in 1 and 2, then that just leaves you down 4, 5, maybe even 6/10 in the final sector. But it looks very neat and tidy from him so far. Final chicane, very well hooked up on the battery very early with that TC on, and that's a 42.6. as the times will fall slowly but surely.
Yeah, definitely a solid lap there for the Racing Bulls, who could do, considering they have both cars in tonight's race, they should be able to come away with a good result, as Kloppo does a 45.4, so that needs to be improved. And then Joker for Kick Sauber, as he goes for a big spin out of turn 1 there, gets provisional pole position just by a matter of 10 thousandths of a second. That is extremely marginal right there between P1 and P2. So maybe we'll see Joker, as Hyper has just joined, so that brings us to 14. But yeah, Kick Sauber maybe needing a good result tonight, considering they're missing their second driver once again.
Yeah, I think Joker, though, very good driver overall as we get Max crossing the line. Set what is a pretty decent effort there. Melmetal going nowhere near as quickly. But Joker, we saw when he was at Alpine, is a very good driver. It's whether he can hook everything up over a single lap, because we saw back in Japan, he was able to hook it up on that single lap, and then just kind of had a bit of a poor race, as I think has been one of those things around at the moment where it's good starts for these teams and then not the best finishes for them.
Yeah, they definitely just need a bit of luck, but let's see anyone else on a lap at the moment. I think Rando is on a lap in his Aston Martin coming through Sector 1, so he's been elevated to a full-time seat. Didn't have the best of races in Canada, that's for sure, but let's see what he's doing, as I got a friend request there from someone, so I'm just gonna try and accept that.
Yeah, Rando looked decent enough in the first sector. He's one of the people on this track, and I think a few people will be doing it. It's just using hot lap and overtake. Typically, medium and overtake has been the better play around this track, because hot lap is one of the most inefficient modes we've ever seen in a Formula 1 game, and it just drains your battery like no tomorrow with no real benefit. But his lap's looking pretty decent right now. It's looking very nicely hooked up, very stable in the car as well. He looks comfortable driving this track, which isn't something I typically say about Belgium. It can be a tricky track, and a 15.6 in the middle sector. Looking to put himself around P4 right now, just between those two Williams drivers.
Yeah.
But a few people not able to go valid on their first runs as well, which is... It can be easy around here, especially if you lose focus, but I think your only real point of contention is Puon, as the only place you're really going to invalidate unless you just completely kill your lap in a
Definitely.
way.
Well, let's see what Rando does now as he comes across the line. Looking to be a 43.7, and exactly what you said, P4 for Rando. So this is good for him on debut. Aston obviously in need of a result, and you were speaking about Williams there. They're in a pretty good position right now, P3 and P4. Obviously their rivals Alpine at the moment down in P9 and P10. This is the current Constructors' Championship. Williams and Alpine separated by a point, a single point between those two teams going into tonight's race. And that is all from the events that occurred in Canada last week. But as you can see, Kloppo has set the slowest lap. He's come back out on track now to hopefully improve that lap, because a 45, would that be considered his actual pace, Leo, or would that just be a mistake?
I think it's been very obvious this season. Kloppo isn't the strongest driver we have on this grid by far. I think there's definitely more pace in it, because Bluefoot goes P4, so Aston's still looking very strong. But I just think it's one of those drivers, it's a bit like Yari when he first started out in his few league races. He just needs some time to build himself up, maybe some motivation from his team principal, and just some way of extracting a bit more pace from that car, because it can be very hard at that level to extract that pace without just absolutely killing your tyres, without absolutely killing your car.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, Belgium is a tough track. Even I find racing on it is difficult to manage the tyres. Even managing the ERS, because I feel like I use a lot of it in the early stages of the race, and then it's impossible to get it back. So that distance around Belgium is just, I don't know, it's sometimes just too long for me. But we've had some pretty good moments here. I think Aston Martin have had pretty good moments here in the past in URC, and so has Red Bull. I think Red Bull have had most of their wins around Spa, and they've seemed to have done it quite a few times, so it's a familiar ground to them. At the moment, though, Yari in P5 there, as I was just about to say, and he's on a new wheel, Leo.
Yeah, I've been speaking to him throughout today. I've been doing my work for some uni courseworks, 2 group coursework's not the best, but I've been sat there in a call with him while he's been having an experience with his wheel. I think, obviously, switching from something belt-driven, like his T150, to a T598, where you've got that direct drive, it'll be a very different feeling for him. And he's slowly starting to build that comfortability. Obviously, turning that traction control off is a great achievement for absolutely anyone, because it can be very difficult in the games, and with the amount of screams I've heard in voice chats with him, I can tell you he has been having a rough time at it. But it's good for him that he's actually pulling it out at 43.4. That's one of the better times he's told me he's been setting, so hopefully we can see him drop into the 42s while the guys at the front maybe just going a little bit higher.
Yeah, definitely, and right now obviously it is cloudy conditions, so not exactly rain, and it's been 7 races and we haven't seen rain yet this season, which I'm kind of concerned about. You'd think we'd have a wet race with some of the tracks we have raced on, Canada being one of them, but could we see it during the race? Maybe. I don't think no drivers have given weather updates yet, so should be interesting.
Wet around here would be. I'm not sure about wet around here. I think it'll certainly be an experience for a lot of these drivers doing it in the wet, because it's one of those really tricky tracks to get right as it is. So adding that extra factor of rain will either make it a brilliant race with 50 people going wide at the poo on every lap, or they'll just be kind of sat there, as Kloppo has found a bit of pace in his car. Still slowest driver overall, but a 44.9 bringing that pace down.
Yeah. No, I think that's expected. I think, as you said yourself, Kloppo he's not really been a driver that can show his true pace yet. He hasn't really been the quickest this season. He has been a bit at the back, and I suppose it does take time to develop, as Joker is 3/10 up in the middle sector. So just kind of switching topic very fast there, because I want to see how much he can improve by Kick Sauber, a team that's really been down in the dumps this season. Could be on for a pole position start here.
Yeah, and just before Joker comes across the line, Metal comes across the line with an 8/10 improvement, P9, very good for him, but Joker, the man of the hour, a 42.1.
Yeah, that's solid.
I think we're easily seeing a 41 tonight, and it'll be between Joker and Hyper, because I don't think that Quiet Boy has it in him. Haven't seen Hyper abandoning his lap.
Yeah.
Because he's one of the only drivers I see trying this. He does, and it's been interesting in Formula Aero as his teammates seeing him do this. He does 2 runs on the same set of tyres on his first outing in qualifying, and I just don't see around here that being the strategy to go for. Just get in, get a new set of tyres on, because obviously you've only really got those 3 set runs anyway. With him being late, he's only got 2. But the tyres fade so badly here, at least when you're talking about a soft. The hard will be the absolute god tyre, but that is for slightly later on in the weekend.
Yeah, so Hyper is going to go back to the pits here, abandon this attempt. So he's not going to improve. Looking at Max, who has improved to P2 there, that's a huge improvement and a big sign of positivity for Williams, because I think when Ben lost Gaffo, I think he kind of worried about his lineup for the rest of the season. But Max delivering this 42.4 on the front row, it looks like Williams can still salvage their season.
Yeah, I mean, both. To be fair, Williams probably one of the stronger overall lineups on this grid at the moment, because both Metal and Max are very good drivers in their own respect. Metal can pull performance out, but I think Max generally will have the better of his teammate across the whole season. But there will be those one or two opportunities for Metal Metal where Max is maybe having an off weekend, or Metal Metal has found all the pace, a bit like we saw from Formula Aero when both Mercedes were 1 and 2 by about a second, as Bluefoot dips tire in the gravel on his lap, and I'm sure he's abandoning now.
Yeah.
Back to the pits, get a fresh set on.
So Hyper's given a indicator as to why Bluefoot was going purple there. I think that's why he probably abandoned. But yeah, Hyper gave an indication about why his lap was abandoned, because apparently Dark Drags in the McLaren blocked him. So that's going to go to the stewards. I think Blue was seeing improvements on his lap time there. He did step into the gravel, as you said, so he must have more pace in that Aston Martin. His teammate Rando down in 10th. So Aston looks quick at the start of the session. Kind of that pace now starting to fall away a small bit here.
Yeah, I saw Bluefoot. He was definitely on the improvement in that middle sector. I'm looking at Dark Drags right now. He is going to be setting a lap, but he is already out of deployment, and it was before he even reached Blanchimont there. So the question is, does he just come into the pits, get a fresh set on, and go again? Because that way he at least gets that peak grip. But no, he's going to stick to it. But Bluefoot, it was only half tenth down at the end of the middle sector. He was doing quite well.
Yeah.
And considering he dipped a wheel in the gravel, probably easily lost 3 or 4 tenths. I think we could have seen him go P3, P4 there. But
just on board.
Now,
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, we're just coming on board to Yari here, who was a 10th up in sector 1, so he is improving. It'd be interesting to see now if he can find more. He's up by almost 3 tenths in the middle sector, so Yari finding some time here, maybe creep into the 42s. This would put him in P5 ahead of Richie. Of course, Richie missing his teammate FaZe Monkey tonight due to sudden illness, so we do wish him a speedy recovery. Obviously last week's race winner, and XD Tyler has lost it. I think that's in Eau Rouge, Leo, is it?
Yeah, it looks like he's parked just on the outside of Eau Rouge. Whether he's lost it or just ended in the barriers, Yari doesn't improve in the end on his lap.
Damn.
And it was a misplay from him, I could see, as he exited the middle sector. He was down on battery from where he expects to be, because you need that battery in the final sector. He just lost all his time on having nothing left to attack that final sector, so that is definitely his qualifying over. 43.4 will be all he gets, because I don't see him improving, having started the lap with 40% battery. Yeah.
No, it's a lot of frustration there, I'd say, for Yari, because...
And Hyper's binned it.
No way.
On his final effort, Hyper, around at Eau Rouge, he is stopped at the top of Eau Rouge, yellow flag out in that section, but that is shambles for Hyper, who was definitely someone who could be contending for pole. And I think Richie, for the first time ever while I've been commentating, has legitimately set the fastest Sector 1. Just had to double check there, not because I don't think Richie could do it, but because the graphics are completely bugged half the time and don't show it. And Richie is actually up on both Joker and Quiet Boy, but also Joker using an immense amount of battery on the run to Eau Rouge, which is an interesting thing, at least in my view. He's down at 30% as he finishes the Kennel Straight, and he's only 400ths up. So Richie, if he can get his lap together, might be a contender for pole here. And as Richie crossed the middle sector, it's 4 tenths of improvement.
Wow.
Yari, I think, has just retired there.
Yeah, he has.
As Richie pulls out of the way, but Richie's out of battery as he finishes that middle sector, which is going to just cost him ounces of time for the entire rest of the lap. Bluefoot's found a little bit in his first sector. Billy Wiz has found a bit. Metal Medal is invalid. So the first driver who will be setting a lap here is Jake Donaldinho.
Had a massive moment there of oversteer on the rears and understeer on the rears and just lost it. As Jake Donaldinho goes P4, what a lap! And then Quiet Boy P2. What about Joker? He's up by 2 tenths. Yeah, that's a 41, I'd say here.
I don't know, because again, it's all about this battery, and he doesn't have very much left. He might even run out of deployment on the exit of the final corner where you really need the drive, but we'll see what he's managed to get do. The pace looks very decent through both apexes of the bus stop. He comes across line. It is a 41.7.
41.7.
I am seeing that lap.
That's
Next
insane.
up, that's really going to tickle everyone's fancy, I think, might be Bluefoot ahead of Max. No, it was Rando.
Max could get
Max
P2. He
crossed the line,
does.
P2,
Great lap.
And Bluefoot, a couple tenths left. It's a 43.0, puts him P7. But can we talk about that 41.7 from Joker?
Yeah, incredible lap. I think it's something Sauber definitely needed, given how their season has gone so far. But what a qualifying. Williams definitely showing some promising results there. Yeah, I mean, I can't really say much more other than well done to Joker there on that lap. That was really, really good, well done to him. Hyper was saying he's had a few issues in qualifying there, so that's probably caused him to not get on pole. But yeah, look at that, a V-carb there. Jake Donaldinho with a P4 is unbelievable for Alpine. They need that given the position they currently are in the constructors. And we have to now reset the grid. So we're just waiting to back out here.
Just before we go, Hyper said his mistake at the end of qualifying, he took a used set with him out of the pits, and then he hit a bump at the Radion. And if it's a used set, that means it's a set he did 2 laps on already. So that probably wasn't going to be a good lap. But we will be back after a lobby reset, as far as I can assume.
Indeed, indeed. Okay. Alright. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Belgium. We have got the grid set. It took us a little while because we couldn't get a Williams driver in, but that has been settled. Leo, we are trialing formation lap for this race, so it's time for some predictions. Leo, I'll come to you first.
Let's see. Jake Donaldinho, because I've not seen him race at all, is going to be an absolute menace into turn 1, take out Joker. Max is going to bin it and Quiet Boy wins the race because Hyper is shit. There's my exact prediction.
That sounds like a Carnage prediction.
Also, Jake's on hard, so, you know, it's obviously going to happen now.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with Joker for the win. And Max and Hyper on the podium then. Basically.
I think that's definitely something that's going to happen. 3 hards, though. Jake, Tyler, and Archie on hards. The rest of the grid slapping on that medium. Which,
yeah, it's an interesting one, really.
If I was racing with a formation lap, I'd be on a medium around here. The hard, however great of a tyre it is, just wears to all hell. Not wears, it takes forever to heat up. Your grip is at about 105 degrees temperature, so you either have to kill your tyres on a formation lap to get them up to temperature, or it's just over.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see now how this race unfolds, especially for the medium runners. And they know that the rain is coming in some part. It's in the middle of the race, so it will really switch things up. I think will we see light rain or heavy rain, the chance for the inters to make an appearance. It should be interesting. And if someone times it right, I think, you know, if you're like in the midfield here where Bluefoot and Billy Wiz and Richie, if you time that intermediate pit stop correctly, I'd say you could end up on the podium. So yeah, this should be interesting to see how this one turns out.
Yeah, I think the question is, right, are those hard runners thinking it's going to be around lap 8, lap 9, where those hards are probably starting to be the better tyre? I think around lap 6 is when we'll get a switch over that the hards are the faster tyre. But are we going to see the likes of Jake, because he's the only one really up there on a set of hards, drop back? Because the mediums can do theoretically 11 laps around here. The hards can do 23, so they could do the whole race if they wanted to. Or are they just thinking the rain isn't going to be heavy enough to warrant a switch to an inter?
Yeah, I think we'll see Jake drop back here. Because the tyres, I don't know if he's gotten them up to temperature that much. I know tyre warming is little to non-existent in this game, to be fair, as he's just hit the wall there. So his tyre warming methods are certainly unnatural. But as that jitter actually going for spin in the background?
Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of looking at game data right now. I have the data mines where his tires are right now in terms of temperature. Obviously they're going to drop a little bit of temperature on the grid. He's probably looking like he's already 6 or 7 laps into this race in terms of wear. But we are getting ready here, Shamrock, to go racing.
Indeed,
as Quiet Boy, as Max is parked nowhere.
Here we go, the 5 red lights in Belgium for round number 7. And the lights are out, and it's a good pull away from the kick. Sauber, the Williams as well, gets a good launch as an Alpine into the back of the Haas. Bluefoot trying to survive carnage, and he's absolutely squeezed in there. I saw that completely. Has he picked up wing damage? He has, yeah, and that's been a brutal start. Yari down to 15th. Bluefoot getting sandwiched in.
Entry.
And Max gets past Joker there as well, actually, Leo. We didn't see that move, but there has been a move for the for P1.
Yeah, but not the best time, because Joker now on that outside line, which switches to the inside after a little toe on the camel straight, gets the move back done entirely in the back Rando and Dark Drags going wheel to wheel as Jake Donaldinho still struggling for warm-up on those hards, ended up on the gravel and now getting pushed out onto the curb and miles wide at the off-camber corner down the hill towards No Name and Puon, while out in front Joker already looking to stretch a little advantage from the rest of the grid.
Yeah, Joker just gone wide there as well through that long left-hander, but he is getting into a bit of a rhythm now. That lap 1, there was a bit of carnage. There was a big squeeze on Bluefoot there, and he did pick up wing damage, but he's managed to come away in P6, and he's looking like he's keeping up with the Alpine of Billy Wiz, so he's happy, I think, to continue on now, but I'd say there's some definite frustration with that lap 1 overtaken. There's your strategy, Leo. Medium to hards or soft to mediums once again. So you have the tire data. What's the best for this track?
Well, it's definitely just a combination of going that one-stop medium hard. The hard is that good around here. Jake obviously not able to get up to temperature, but a lot of wing damage on lap 1. Bluefoot obviously doesn't seem too heavy, but Kloppo has got pretty substantial damage. Both end plates gone for him, and he's pulling into the pits. And Yari, really substantial damage on that front right end plate. He's going to be pulling into the pits, and I think that's going to be him praying for a safety car at this point, as Quiet Boy has actually pulled DRS from Hyper here. So out in front, the gap's already stretching out a bit.
Yeah, and it looks like Max just gains actually back the time on the kick Sauber head, as there's going to be a move here maybe for Quiet Boy, or is he going to be patient? Racing Bull's in a really good position now since Quiet Boy has come to the team. Kloppo not really performing as probably expected given his pace, but Quiet Boy really taking this team to a whole nother level. P4 last week, and obviously Richie then got the podium in Japan for them, so they've been on a good run of form, and Quiet Boy looks to continue that tonight, but he has to get past Max in the Williams, and obviously Williams in that hunt for a Constructors' Championship, their first one in over 10 seasons. They haven't really been a team that have been at the front end, but Max can deliver that tonight if he's just able to keep up with the kick Sauber of Joker, showing really good pace from the start of this race.
Yeah, some bad news for Alpine as well. Obviously, Billy Wiz just got a 3-second time penalty, being a bit naughty with those track limits in that Alpine. But Jake Donaldinho, more crucially, he's got front right end plate damage. So both Alpines not in the best positions right now at a track where you really need to be right there and you need to rely on a DRS train, you know.
Yeah.
Jake Donaldinho now going to have to pull into the pits. He's probably going to drop just behind Kloppo on pit exit, or might just be ahead, but it's going to be difficult here. Max gaining a lot in that final sector. I'd be curious to know, though, what is he pulling with this battery right now? Actually, the best of that top 4, Max on battery, and he is going to be taking a definite look at Joker.
Yeah, he's got a good run here now.
Chicane.
Took a lot of curb there.
He's not even going to need to get to Lecom, though, because he is closing, gaining. He has all the battery in the world. Joker not fighting that a bit, and that is a clean move.
Hyper might go for it as well on Quiet Boy as Jake Donaldinho retires in the pits. And they go side by side, and Hyper gets ahead the Mercedes up into the podium places, which will be good for them considering where they are in the table. And Hyper now will set his sights on the Sauber and the Williams ahead, but a bit of understeer on his rear tyres there. He did spin a few times in Canada last week, and it seems to be a common thing with his setups.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that really likes that pointy car as Max, the leader, not the best place to be. 30-second time penalty. But crucially for Hyper, getting past Quiet Boy there, he didn't break out of that DRS. He didn't have to work his tyres harder to get back in.
Yeah.
But I think Joker will be pretty happy here. I mean, Max obviously still happy enough on battery, still running the most of this top 4 group again. But now's the time where, you know, the likes of Joker, Hyper, and Quiet Boy have all kind of been using their battery pretty heavily. Need to just switch it off, get a bit more battery in their bank, and go again, as Jake's car is travelling a hell of a long way before finally pulling over to disappear off our track map.
It is, yeah. It's going past Sector 1.
I think now it's going to be a real challenge between these top 4. I think they're the only ones, unless something happens here, as everyone gets close to that inside, and actually Quiet Boy with a much better run than Hyper out of turn 1. He just has no battery left.
Yeah.
And I think Joker now and all these guys behind are going to be depending on Max, who's got that admittedly much stronger battery level to try and regen, but Joker might be thinking otherwise because he is looking on the inside of Lecom, and that is clean and easy as you like. Quiet Boy starting to drop back a little bit. That low battery, as I said, starting to hurt him a bit. And is this going to threaten his chance of sticking up there? One of the guys who I know will keep himself out of that penalty zone. But is he going to struggle now to keep on the back of these guys and keep close enough that these penalties that others are going to rack up, pushing just that much harder?
Well, it certainly looks that way for Quiet Boy in terms of coming down that first straight past Eau Rouge there and towards Radillon. It definitely looked like he's not able to make a move on Hyper, but looking at Joker's overtake there, you can just really see how DRS makes that much big of a difference, and now he can try and get ahead back into the clean air and hope that maybe Max acts as a bit of an obstruction to Hyper, because Hyper is all over the place in Sector 1, I can tell you that right now. Going into Turn 1, he had a moment of locking on the front tyres and it gave him the poorer exit. That's why Quiet Boy was so much closer to him. As a yellow flag back there in Sector 3, I'm not sure who's going slow. I think it's an Alpine of Jake, so his car must be going back to the pits, I think, Leo, at this rate. He hasn't pulled over.
Yeah, interesting to see. This could be an effect of the formation app. We know how it is. But I was just thinking, with Hyper just struggling a little bit on occasion, I think it's just an aspect of his driving style. He loves to play with that brake bias and try and be on the limit every lap. I just don't think he's done enough practice to really do much. The question is, though, can Hyper now follow Max through? Max will easily clear Joker. Can Hyper pull the double? Maybe.
Hyper makes contact, and again, which might allow Quiet Boy to sneak up for a move here, but luckily for Joker he keeps P3. But just a bit of an aggressiveness there by Hyper to get by. Obviously you said it yourself, Leo, he knows how big this move is for his race and obviously to get ahead of the Williams, but I just think it's all about picking your moments a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of contact there won't matter. I think more critically for this leading battle, I just took a look at Race Director to get a bit of insight. Hyper is on 1 warning, Joker is on 2. Max hasn't gotten 1 since his penalty, so Quiet Boy definitely sitting pretty right now. He's found that battery groove again, though. He's back up on battery compared to the 2 ahead of him, and actually, Hyper already out of recharge in that car for the rest of this lap, so the only way he'll be getting battery back into that bank is if he switches it down into none while on the throttle. The rest of the time, he won't be gaining anything. But it'll be now really interesting to see. I think this top 4 don't have enough of a pace difference for just breaking DRS to be the thing. I think when the rain comes, it's who makes the right call on strategy and who has the least penalties towards the end.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really close top 4. I think one we possibly didn't expect. I mean, you know, we're obviously missing some drivers this week. We are missing Fran, and you know, we're missing Vinny and the McLaren. We're missing both McLaren drivers other than Dark Drags, who's stepping into reserve. So we are missing a couple of lads who could put on a performance, but these top 4 are, and Hyper is going to get past Max, squeeze him a little bit there, but he gets into the lead on lap 6 of this race, and now he's got the clean air he needs to try and just pull away, which he's very capable of doing.
Yeah, but I was looking at the telemetry down that straight. Max did not fight that one bit. He left the battery in medium, and it was almost like he said, Hyper, you go for it. I'd rather be stuck behind you and just be pulled along with this tow. Any of these top 4 are capable of leading this race, and I think actually P5 Billy Wiz is kind of a bottleneck at this point for the likes of Bluefoot, Richie and Metal Metal, with how close they're able to stick in this middle part of the lap. Billy Wiz is actually doing a great job right now for everyone else. Unfortunately, his teammate's not there, but this could easily be a P8 for Billy Wiz. I'm not sure about any higher, because those guys behind typically can be very good on just making sure they're not taking the track limits. As
Dark Drags is off into the grass. Sorry about cutting you across there. He has just had a moment, but I was just going to say for Bluefoot as well, he's not been able to get by. It's obviously because of the wing damage, but I think he's more than happy in sitting in this DRS, potentially on for a P5, given however the rain comes, however he times his strategy. If it works out for him, he could finish higher, but he's in a good position right now to just sit behind this Alpine and trail along with him, because he knows P5 is on the cards.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, though, out in front, Max still the better on battery of everyone else, and Hyper has pretty much nothing to respond with on the straight. So Max will be right on his gearbox, if not just flying straight past. That is the difference between overtake and none that anyone watching along. The overtake clean and easy as you like, and the question is now, does Max have that pace to drag Hyper away from Joker? Because that could really decide this race, as Jitterarchi's cleared XD Tyler before they even got to the DRS zone on the Camel Straight.
Yeah, it just seems like it's going to be DRS swapping games between the top 4, and it kind of brings... There's a car off. Was that Yari? Oh,
yeah,
Yari is completely
spinning on the
spun.
exit of the final corner. Unfortunate for him, but I was speaking to him before the race. I did tell him, treat this as a test session, as Hyper under threat actually from Joker.
Yeah, up his arse here in Sector 2.
I think Hyper's made a mistake here. He's actually regened a lot of battery here, but somehow still, despite leading a lot of this time, Max is just the better of everyone on battery. He is doing a phenomenal job at managing his battery and knowing what he needs to commit to, what he can just say, nah, you take that position from me. Well, because as long as he's P1 or P2, he's probably in the driving seat for winning this race come the final lap.
Yeah, obviously if he can pull off that gap, then as Joker goes to the inside, what a move! Hyper's lost...
Yeah,
oh my god, Hyper's losing places all around the shop. There's a huge battle for P2. This is exactly what Max needs now to pull away.
It's 2.5 seconds, Shamrock. He's already pulled just from that one dive from Joker.
That's insane.
And that could be Max just checked out of this race. He's going to see that gap now. He doesn't know this, at least on board with himself, as Hyper clears Joker again, and I think will have DRS. But Hyper, we know, has the pace, and I think now, since he has DRS, Joker won't. He needs to absolutely
Here comes Quiet Boy.
for it.
This could end in tears. This could honestly end in tears. Quiet Boy might go to the inside. He's gonna go.
Yeah, wheel to wheel.
Oh, Joker's hit his wing.
And there's rain. I believe I just saw a droplet of rain.
I've seen droplets.
And the rain is falling. So Quiet Boy takes P2. Joker's got wing damage on that front right end plate, hitting the back of Hyper. And Max has 3.5 seconds of gap out in front.
That's been gifted to him.
It's insane. And Dark Drags, I mean, that is some commitment, but it is a long track. He's already on that intermediate tyre. Just pulled out of the pits with it. What can he do on an intermediate, and is he going to overheat that? I'm going to be keeping tabs on his tyre temperatures, because that'll be the key as to whether the track is ready. But I think these medium starters were right in their call, but already it looks a little bit too early for those intermediates. If I'm looking at Dark Drags' tyre temps, they're just getting a little bit up there already. 73 degrees, locked the rear tyre. So I think it's one more lap, but which of these top 4? I think if you're Joker, you need to go for it.
Hyper's going around the outside.
Of Joker,
big
off
move.
The track for Hyper, gets the move done. Now the question is, are any of these top
Joker
4
hit the back of him. Big
And
moment of understeer. Hyper's in. Yeah.
And this could be the call. It's the longest lap on the calendar. One little bit too much rain. One mistake for any of these drivers in front, as we've
Yari's
got
off again.
Cars coming to the pits. Yari, I'm not surprised he's off. Billy Wiz into the pits. Metal into the pits. Richie into the pits. Jitterarchi into the pits. So we've got 5 drivers committing to intermediates at the moment, as Yari is having a hell of a time out there.
Yeah.
But now, is the track going to get too wet? That is the big question here. Dark Drag still hasn't gained to Kloppo, so I don't think the gamble has been worth it just yet. Let me check his tyre temperatures as he comes through the chicane. It's in the 80s on the rears, so still maybe not just yet. Time can be gained though, just from being slightly early compared to being slightly late. We'll see. Max really struggling right now. Joker is going to need a front wing change. If he doesn't change his front wing in this wet condition, there are going to be issues, and he's understeering to all hell. Let's see, Max through Puon, and it's definitely reaching that time for Inters. He's slower than I'd expect to see.
Yeah,
Puon.
Bluefoot's struggling as well. You can see it through the left corner. This is what the wing damage effect is having. He's gaining on Joker, that's for sure. But I mean, like the likes of XT Tyler behind as well, and then Hyper is not that far back. He's catching.
Yeah, Hyper was faster through Puon, and I think that's the signal. The tyres may not quite be there, but the tyres were definitely working better, and DRS has been disabled, and that is the final straw. You need to come in for a new Inter as soon as that DRS is disabled. And Max, he's struggling to get the car into the final corner. He can barely make
the final corner, yeah. So
that's into the pits they must go. Quiet Boy following him in. And now I think the big question is, Joker and Bluefoot, what are they doing about their front wings? Because I think at this point, Hyper will be the race leader coming out of this. Perfect time for him. And where can Billy Whiz come out as well?
Yes, it's looking like Max should still come out in P2. He's shown some good pace here. Hyper really did plan.
Is that a safety car?
Oh my god, it might be.
That is a safety car. It's full safety car.
And Max just. Wait, did that move happen under safety car conditions from Hyper? I think it did, because he has to return the position. Oh, that is cinema.
That is unfortunate for Hyper.
And wait, what? Hyper's back ahead of him.
Wait, I need to go onto the stream because I didn't see this live, but I will take a look here to see what happens if you're on board with Hyper.
It's just by the exit of turn 1. I was on board with him.
I don't think that's Hyper's position. I don't think that's Hyper's position. I don't know what's gone on there.
Because that's an overtake under yellow flags. I don't know about that one.
I think that might be looked at after the race. Max obviously might be quite happy. To be fair, Max might be quite happy here because that leaves him under less threat on the safety car coming in. Once that safety car's in, you've obviously got that huge run through Radion, Upper Rouge, as Hyper has sent me a message. So time to see what Hyper's waffling about. He sent me a voice note, so let's turn up the volume.
Yeah, if you want to know how I did it, I cut the delta so I could get out ahead of him before he got out the pit lane, so I could overtake legally.
Interesting. From Hyper, sending me a voice chat in the middle of the race. Thank you for that insight into what happened.
So what's he done? Overtaken illegally?
No, he's overtook legally by getting under his delta and then just building it back.
Right.
That is a very smart move from him. You know, you've got 15 seconds between delta. So as long as you're back under delta in time, everything's fine. But this rain looks very heavy already.
Yeah, it's very heavy conditions. Rando is on the hard tire still, so I'm really not quite sure if he sees the rain, or if he just thinks it's still dry. Nevertheless, he's managed to keep it on track.
Is this? Hold on. Let me take a look here. Is this a gamble from Rando? I think I like what Rando is thinking here.
I like the thought process, insane, but it's just not working.
Well, it is a safety car, so he's going to close in. If he sticks on these hards, I think Bluefoot's pulled in to get a fresh front wing. I don't think Joker pulled on. Oh, Joker did pile on the new front wing. Good on him. But I think what Rando is thinking here is if I stick out on this hard and it dries up before this safety car comes in, which is very likely that it could.
Oh, Kloppo.
Kloppo, I saw this, to be fair, we saw this from...
He has just stopped on track, and then he's gone again.
I think just to get back under Delta. We saw this from Flitz in Formula Aero on Monday. He got 2 drive-through penalties for that same infringement. It can be difficult, especially in these conditions. Those slower corners do catch you out. But what I was going to say is Rando might be thinking really smart here, and if it does dry up in time, And if they can still catch up to the safety car, now all it takes is it to be drying up at the end of the safety car and him to have played an absolute masterclass. But that's not saying that as the safety car ends, the whole field goes and pulls. I believe it's a 17-second pit window around here. I can double check that though. I do have the numbers pretty handy. Yeah, 17 seconds is your pit loss line to line. So it's probably about 20 seconds. If that field's pulled 20 seconds on him, which is so likely with how the conditions look right now, and doesn't look like it'll dry up anytime soon, the struggles might be there for Rando. I think it's safest for him as the safety car's in.
Safety car's in, and
So
Bluefoot
Rando
hasn't even
can't
caught
commit.
up. Because look, his teammates, Rando is holding up his teammate under the safety car. I don't think
on Rando pulls off the track. So
I'm really surprised to see that now. Bluefoot's got to really power on here.
They are going to catch, but it's when Hyper decides to launch. And I think it will just be an exit of the final corner launch here. There's not much else you can do around this track. You take a slightly wider line here. And it is going to be a semi-committed launch, though. It's very interesting how he did it. But we are back underway, and Quiet Boy already taking a little look.
Oh, Max! Jesus!
Max has lost it. It's 3 wide in turn
Oh
1. Max
my
is off track
God.
with Quiet Boy, and Billy Wiz is up to P2. But
That's no
Hyper
way.
taking the lead. And Joker up to P4 after losing a couple positions. But Max down to 8, and that's not what Ben is going to be wanting to see. How many people are going to go wide and get penalties on Eau Rouge on this lap? Kloppo's pulled into
Dark
pits.
Drags is
Dark
out.
Drags is in the
That's
wall
another
with a
one.
virtual safety car.
VSE, yeah. Oh, wow. What
And
a
there's damage on the straight. The Ferrari of Gitarachi, I believe, got some damage.
Metal
Metal's got a 10-second for hitting the back of Quiet Boy, and he does have damage. Quiet Boy with damage. Who got damage on this outlap? I think anyone else in front is clean of damage. Yeah, so it's going to be Quiet Boy, Metal missing the same side of wing. And then everyone else with a clean bill of health on their wing. But that is the most ideal restart for Hyper as the virtual safety car very quickly handled. And we are back underway with Hyper now. Actually losing quite a lot. As the VSC just restarted, lost about a second under that VSC. Was that just playing it safe, or was that a bit of misplay from Hyper? But he's got to get his foot down now, because Billy Wiz will be on a charge, and he has got a very angry pack right behind him.
Yeah.
And Gitarachi really wants to get past the wing damage of Quiet Boy and Metal. I'm sure one of them is going to go flying into the gravel here, and I was completely right about that. Max also clearing Metal along with XD Tyler, and I think that's kind of it for Metal at this point in the race.
Yeah, Bluefoot looking to get by him here as well now for 9th place. He's got to try and get a move done. He has the freshest tyres out of everyone actually as well, so that's going to play into his advantage for a little while anyway. While this rain is still heading down, the driver in the best position right now, and considering where the championship is Richie. He is the next contender really to Fran, and he needs all the points he can get. Hyper to win this race would take him closer to Fran's current title lead, which is I think 44 points. So Hyper would be reducing that at the moment before we go into Qatar next week, as Jitter Archie picks up 3 seconds, Metal now to 13 seconds with his current penalties. But yeah, this has been a chaotic VSC restart with Quiet Boy losing more places there for the Racing Bulls team. It's just been a really strange restart, Leo.
Yeah, obviously I think Dark Drags losing at the top of Eau Rouge, causing that VSC, which caused a lot of issues for drivers, but Hyper is the one that's benefited the most out of everyone. Joker really needs to try and start getting a move on Quiet Boy, obviously getting a little bit down in the dumps. He's got wing damage, the same wing damage that Metal has, so through Puon we just see him understeering wide, and as a driver we thought was in that race to win this race, it's all changed over one safety car, where Hyper now is the driver that stands the best chance of winning, and 3.6 second gap isn't anything to shy away at.
Absolutely, and obviously with the second dry period to come of this race as well, the rain will end, but it's just a matter of when that rain ends. And Hyper now with a 4-second gap out in front, it just means it's obviously Billy Wiz. He was leading that pack as well in the first stint of this race, and no one could get by him. It seems like he's doing the exact same as Joker and Richie battle now for position, and Joker gets past the Haas. A big move for his race. He needs to get by this as much as possible and clear them, because look at that lead that Hyper has. 4.1 seconds is such an advantage to have in this stage of the race.
If there's anything I know about Hyper, he very much can struggle in the rain. I remember going back racing with him in China. He was struggling a hell of a lot that day. But I think there's one issue I'm seeing down most of the grid at the moment, and that's battery. No one really has the battery to put a challenge to anyone at the moment. You know, everyone kind of low percent. XD Tyler was actually finishing that straight on 0 before he flipped it down into none. So Hyper right now in the driver's seat has pulled a second in that first sector again. I think Billy Wiz just missing something this race, and you know, I think because of that, a lot of people are getting held up. There's only 2 real spots that you can get an overtake done at this track, and that is the bus stop chicane and through Lake Holmes. So this is really helping Hyper as Billy very wide once again. It's really difficult conditions. You've got to judge it every lap, whether it's drying up or whether it's getting wetter.
Yeah.
And that is the hardest part of driving in the rain. You never know what grip you're going to have coming into each corner. You know, one lap it'll be you're sliding everywhere. The next it'll be, oh, I can just turn in as if it was dry. Joker picking up. Surprisingly, not another warning yet. I saw him just off track there. But we've got to remember, Joker is on 2 warnings for track limit, so 1 more. And that's probably the race wrapped for Hyper, especially if he can't get past Billy Wiz, who is burning towards this final corner. So Joker should handily have Billy on the outside here.
Yeah.
But just can't seem to make it work.
And they come very close there, but Billy Wiz, I have to say, you know, I don't give him credit much this season, but he is doing a phenomenal job at keeping up these drivers behind him, given the fact, yes, he's got 3 seconds of penalties, but he's still showing, he's displaying a level of pace that is, at the moment, deservedly of this P2. The rain is not easing off yet, so it mightn't ease off to lap 17. I'm going to predict lap 18 possibly, as Max gets another 3-second time penalty, and Joker finally gets past the Alpine. Jitter Archie will look to get past the Alpine as well, pick up some big points for Ferrari, hopefully for him, and he does get past. He pushes the Alpine wide. That's, yeah, that is a bit of a shame for him.
You thought it could happen, but that all was triggered, Sham, by Billy Wiz having a really poor exit of the top of Radion.
Yeah.
He just had a bit of a snap on that exit, as Max should cleanly get around the outside, but he can't. He got beats on the curb, and Max in the gravel and down to 8th. That's one of the drivers again that could have won this race. You know, 2 of them just down and out, having a rancid time since the rain has come, and I think that is just going to leave this now pretty much to Hyper, because it's easy as you like for him. 7.5 seconds out in front, and no question of it, XD Tyler clears Richie.
What a move by XD Tyler there, by the way, just getting past the Haas. He's actually on for a P3 as things stand. He could get past Billy and Jitter Archie come the end of this race. It's just when it does dry up, it's just a matter of then does he have the pace to keep up with them. But this could be his best result of the season, and a Mercedes 1 and 3 is exactly what he needs. But look at this, Bluefoot now has to time this overtake to perfection, and he could be on for a podium if he gets past. He's just smacked into the back of the Haas there under braking, so Bluefoot's got to try and go for a move here. He's going to go up the inside of Richie. He's got to commit to it. Gets the move done on the Haas. Really good overtake there. Bluefoot now looks at the Mercedes. That's his next car. And if he gets past him, Bluefoot's on for a podium finish which will definitely restore his confidence as Joker picks up a 3 seconds, and Leo, that's it. That seals the deal for Hyper then.
Yeah, it should pretty much. Bluefoot with a lot more battery than XD Tyler. That is going to be the easiest move of his life. And maybe Max also trying to get in on the fray up the inside of Lecom. Can't quite make it work. A little bit of a wheel hook on XD Tyler.
Max is back in the gravel.
In the gravel for the second time in 2 laps. And now Quiet Boy, with missing half a wing, has to dive deep to the inside, just not able to react in time. And does get a moved on Max, and that's really going to frustrate the Williams driver in this middle sector. But I don't see now who really could come out on top, because I think Bluefoot now standing the best chance, getting past XD Tyler. He definitely has some pace, can get onto the back of Billy Wiz and Archie, and if he can clear one of them, I think he stands a decent chance of trying to get up to Joker and maybe sneaking into a P2 here.
But with the current penalty window as well, he would be elevated to P2 by the end of this race. So he's got 6 laps to go. Now, around Belgium, that's a long way to go. It's different if it was Monaco or, I don't know, some other like short track. But this is one of the longest tracks we have on the calendar. So it's just now a matter if Bluefoot can hang on. And the points for Aston Martin this race would bring, if he could pull it off, would be absolutely huge. He just has to avoid track limits. That's all he has to do. It's XD Tyler and Richie battling there for 6th and 7th, 6th and 7th place, I should say, before a meme drops in the comments. Richie, I would expect to be able to get past, but it looks like these wet conditions are kind of hindering him, because he's quick in the dry, isn't he, Leo?
Yeah, Richie, he is one of those drivers though that it can be an on race, it can be an off race for him. So I think it's just a matter of he might just be in the wrong place. He's got a lot of strong talent around him though. I think any one of these drivers could be on for a P2 as Richard gets past XD Tyler, who just doesn't seem to have the battery, doesn't seem to have the capability. Just looking around the grid again, not many people being able to manage their battery very well around this circuit. And I think, obviously, as you were saying earlier to me, that battery management around here is probably trickier just because you've got those 2 sections where you desperately need all that battery. But it does look to be drying up, and maybe even
it's dry.
Stopped raining.
The rain has just stopped, Leo. I didn't want to cut you off there during your little speech, but yeah, the rain has stopped. So this is the moment where, do drivers take the gamble? Do they go to the dry tire? I think everyone's going to make the call to pit. I don't think staying out on the inters is probably the right call. If there's a crash, I think a safety car is going to cause absolute carnage. Let's see what Hyper does. Hyper's going to box. That is the right decision. It's just a matter now on what the rest of the grid decides to do. I think we'll see a pit stop from everyone.
Joker stays out.
Joker stays out. Wow, I did not expect that.
It is a mixed decision, Sham. Really, this transition period, not so much from dry to inter, that's a very clear transition, but from inters back to dry can just be a very difficult decision for you, because you can come out on a dry and it still feel extremely wet and it still be very hard to drive the car. So Joker may be taking a gamble, and I would love to see if that works. Max, currently the only driver to have fitted soft tyres to his car, and I think the only one that is going to the end of the race. So Max, expect to see him charge for a couple laps and then maybe just have a struggle, but DRS enabled, that is the indicator that the inters probably aren't the better tyre at this point, and this could have been a huge misplay for Joker, especially with that 3-second penalty. Already losing half a second to Hyper in through a couple of corners as Billy Wiz picking up his next 3-second time penalty, and
Richie off the track as well there, so not ideal. Kloppo didn't box as well, so he stayed out on his inters for P9 at the moment. And XD Tyler showing really good race pace in this. He's up to P6 now, and he can start getting some pressure on Bluefoot maybe if he catches up to him. But Blue is in a real prime position here, because I don't expect Joker to stay out on the inters. And I think if he just kind of sticks with the Alpine and the Ferrari, he's on for a really solid finish to this race. And he's been doubting himself, I think, a bit this season. He's talked about unlucky scenarios and involved in contact with other drivers, but for him, the penalty scenario as well, everything's played out really well for him so far. Joker does pit now, so this will grant Hyper back the lead of the race, which we kind of expected to happen anyway. And as you said, Leo, yeah, definitely a mistake there maybe by Joker to stay out. I think what he was hoping for was a safety car.
I did find it interesting as well with XD Tyler when he got past Max. It just seemed that as Max has got wing damage off XD, Tyler actually pushes him off the track. And the Williams not very happy with that, but I was saying XD Tyler just seemed to fire those tyres up a hell of a lot quicker. And he actually really looked for a dive in.
Yeah, he did. He was hungry for it there.
Yeah, and this has left him really vulnerable though. Still pretty much no battery for the Mercedes drivers. Gidarachi picks up another 3-second time penalty. I think that might secure a P2 for Bluefoot, who is having an incredible race. But now, XD Tyler just so under pressure now with no battery. And that is easy as you like.
Bluefoot's looking to get by Billy Whiz here as well. Sorry again, he is looking to get these positions on track rather than sitting behind, because if Billy Whiz holds him up, you know, that's going to cost him time to like Jitter Archie ahead and maybe Joker, who's on these fresh tyres now. So we're in for a real interesting finish to this race.
Yeah, Blue already outside of the gap to Joker, at least on Joker's current penalties. But I think Max really now starting to struggle. I think a lot of these drivers have left themselves vulnerable where they needn't be, just out of pure mistakes on how they're running with their battery. And, you know, somehow the medium runners actually firing up their tyres better than
big spin!
The Williams. As Richie, that is a great save from Richie.
What a recovery. Oh my days.
Somehow holding on. Max and
XD Tyler are still going at it.
They are having an absolute ding-dong and then some. The Williams and the Mercedes, and I'm sure this is going to end in tears. 20 of 22 in this race. XD Tyler unable to get a switchback, but again, XD Tyler looking at his battery, he was 0% again, and Quiet Boy showing that he was definitely in it this race, and just showing how poorly things have gone from Kloppo sticking out on those intermediates, maybe just trying to steal a point from Aston here, but I don't think that's going to work out as Max picks up I believe that's a second 3-second penalty for him as well. That's a third. And actually, Gidarachi, I don't think we noticed this. He's not on 3 seconds. He's not on 6 seconds. He's on 15 seconds of time penalties.
No idea how's that happened to him. But you can see what this is how this is hurting a bit. I think Bluefoot, because the gap between, I think Joker has done enough now to secure P2 with his 3-second penalty, because he has got a 6-second gap to Gidarachi behind. So Bluefoot can maximize P3 here, but yeah, it looks like
two into the barrier, sorry.
Oh my god.
Max and XD Tyler spearing into the barrier at Puon. It looked like a bit of wheel lock in between the two of them. And XD Tyler out of the race. And that was an immense crash from the two of them.
You said it yourself, Leo, that battle was going to end in tears, and it has ended in tears. Is there any reaction from XD Tyler after that? It doesn't look like it. He's just said, yeah, TF, your problem.
That is absolutely mental between the two of them. Just, they were wheel to wheel in Puon. Just, obviously Max had a bit of wing damage. It's a bit more than a bit now for Max, but you just see them both spear off in Eau Rouge, and XD Tyler directly into the barrier. And I think Billy Whiz is actually going to make a move here. Finally on Gidarachi, he's close enough, he's got more battery, he's got DRS. Took a little bit of slipstream with it, and that'll be the move for Billy Whiz. But yeah, Max is going to be fuming, and that's going to demote him behind his teammate as well. So Williams only scoring 1 point this race after that.
Yeah, and with
that
Billy
is a
Wiz as
huge
well
disappointment.
on the 6 points, he'll pick up some more points, which will put Alpine right back in the lead of the Constructors' Championship. It's hard to say that Jake Donaldinho and Billy Wiz will be leading a Constructors' Championship after tonight's race. So, you know, kudos to them. But Bluefoot now has just got to try and get past Billy Wiz and Jitter Archie, because Billy Wiz has got some pace in him to potentially pull away in the final 2 laps. And if he takes that P3, but Bluefoot gets past Jitter Archie there, he's saying he's not losing this podium, and he's pushing
like
his Aston Martin now.
Jitter.
Yeah,
Jitter
it was.
With what we've not noticed, front right wing damage as well. Haven't noticed it until this point, so Jitter, I think, just hoping to secure what he can. I think Joker and Hyper are just going to be having a little scrap here for who can get the fastest lap, because that's kind of what they've got left in their race, so provided that Joker doesn't get another penalty. Race is absolutely wrapped up for him. It's now really, can Billy pull that gap to Bluefoot? That's the only question that I think is left to be answered in this race.
Yeah, a lot of turns left to go. 1.8 is the current gap between him now and Billy Wiz. It's out of the question for Blue on P2, because Joker has secured that. Hyper has definitely secured the win by 11 seconds. It just really, things really played out for him in the end today, as Jitter Archie picks up 18 seconds now, which you just think wouldn't be possible, but he has defied those laws.
And not even just realising for me, Shamrock, it is the final lap
It is.
of this race. It has flown by. Metal Metal is going to be the one person to really focus on towards the end of this. The rest of the battles have kind of simmered out. Metal Metal now, his question is, can he catch Kloppo, who has actually pulled an absolute masterclass out. He stayed out on the inters, and he just might come home to secure a
Do you
point
know
for
what?
Vika.
That's incredible. I actually have to spectate and make him just clap, because that is... How has man done 12 laps on those inters and stayed out the entire time? That's insane.
Hyper now is coming through Blanchimont towards the bus stop.
Yeah.
I don't think he has made a single mistake. Max retires from the session. Not surprisingly, he wasn't going to score a point. But Hyper,
Big
in
win.
URC for the second time, is going to win. And it would have been the third time, but this time he's kept his penalties off the board. And by what a margin it has been, Joker will come home for P2. It's been a good race from him, a commanding performance. Billy Wiz on track will come home P3. What a drive from him.
Bluefoot's
but
going to take the
Bluefoot
podium.
will
That
take
is
it.
an incredible race. Richie will take
Richie-
4th. Billy will take 5th. Quiet Boy
Six.
takes 5th there, and Billy will take home 8 points for Alpine, which elevates them back into the lead of the Constructors' Championship. Jitter Archie taking home 7th. Rando takes home 7th. So a really good result there for Aston Martin. And Metal and Kloppo gets a point. Oh my god.
That is the scenes. I think the biggest answer. Kloppo managed to score. He gets 2 as well because he kept it clean on penalties.
That is
and
unbelievable.
Metal had one. Well, what a drive from everyone who survived. But Hyper pulled something magical out that race to
He
have
really
come across
did.
the line.
He really did.
10 seconds ahead of anyone else. The rain is known as the great equalizer, but it really wasn't today. And I did DM Hyper bin it at one point of that race, and he messaged back as he won, I never bin it.
Yeah, a solid race there, and Kick Sauber once again back on the podium. So it's a back-to-back podium for them. Aston Martin back on the podium for the first time since Austin, when Francesco Bernoulli was racing for them. So it's been a while for this Aston Martin team to be on a high like they have finished today. So yeah, what a race.
It's that sort of event that you could never have called before it happened. XD Tyler and Max do get classified as 1 and 3 laps down.
Yeah,
But-
which is a big shame for XD Tyler, really, because I think he deserved points there. And you know, I think that collision with Max, I don't know whether it was a heated moment. As Richie said, he's got three things to report, so a bit of frustration on the Haas garage, probably a bit of frustration from Quiet Boy as well, I'd say. But we will get to the interviews. Leo, overall, your thoughts on that race? Yes, it did fly by, but just if you could break it down.
That was probably the most interesting race I've commentated for a while until the rain. Just so much going on, and even afterwards, just mistakes from people, incidents galore, and I think if this is the sort of race we have every race, then it'll be absolutely chaos during the race and in the steward's room afterwards, as Richie is already saying. And Hyper is already waiting for an interview.
He's always waiting. I bet he has a song ready for us and all. I'll drag him in here. Well, we'll get Bluefoot in first because he was P3. I don't think Joker likes interviews. So we'll bring in Bluefoot first, and then we'll get to Hyper, our race winner. Blue, can you unmute your mic, please? Is he able to speak?
Don't know, you might have channel permissions again.
Well, no, because everyone is able to speak. Fran was able to speak. Oh, there he is. Oh, his intro. Of course he has to do his intro. Yeah, he's ruined the moment. He's ruined the moment. He's ruined the moment. Okay, yeah, we get it, man.
Bluefoot's back. Alright.
Cooked. Blue, welcome in to the podium interview. You've muted your mic again. Bluefoot. Blue.
Bluefoot with the incredible comments on his race, as always.
Yeah, he's really touching the entire audience here with his words and he's gone. So that's all he's had to say. Fair enough. Oh, he's back.
Maybe just a few technical difficulties for the Aston Martin driver.
Yeah, Blue?
I cannot hear anything. Great, hooray. Hooray.
That's great for Blue.
Oh, it's because he's on PS. I think that's why.
There.
You should be able to hear us, Blue.
I can hear you now,
Okay, cool. You can hear us? You can hear me now?
I can, yeah.
Okay, happy days. Okay, so Blue, welcome to the podium interview room.
Thank you.
How did you find your race, your qualifying?
Qualifying. Mr. P7 strikes again, but it wasn't too bad. There was a few little mistakes on the second lap, so I had to come back into the pits and get out as quick as I could. And it wasn't the cleanest lap, but I matched my time trial time, so I'm not really good around this track anyway, so I'll take the P7 anyway.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And obviously lap 1, you got sandwiched into turn 1, so just talk us through lap 1, the experience of it. Like, were you a bit frustrated with some of the driving into turn 1?
Yeah, like most of it ahead of me was fine. I went for a move on, I can't remember who it was, who started on hards in the top 5 or something, one of the Alpines, I think.
Yeah, Jake.
But I went for a move there, got by him, but then someone on the inside just completely missed the brake zone and just smushed me in between two cars. So my wing, it wasn't too bad. It was a very light green, so I was still able to kind of go with it, but I could feel it struggling when the tyre wear started hitting. I was like, oh God. So when the rain came, I was kind of happy out. I pit. And I actually didn't replace my wing when I pit for the first time. Don't know if you saw, but I actually ran into the back of one of the Haas cars and I broke my wing. So I had to pit again under the car, which was fine. I was glad I could change the wing. And I'm glad I did now because of the result, obviously.
Yeah, you had the better tyres for the stage, but did you feel like it was tough to get past Billy Wiz, because you were struggling to get past him today and he was kind of dragging you along for some bits, but did you just feel like he had too much straight line speed to get by him, or what was the story there?
Yeah, it was pretty impressive to be fair. He held up half the grid. Yeah, when I was trying to get by him in the rain, it was just every time we got to Eau Rouge, he just pulled enough of a gap that the slipstream wasn't benefiting, and I didn't have too much battery. I had more than him, but it wasn't enough to catch up to him. So he was managing quite well on that. But then, yeah, as you saw when it went to dry, I think he was able to hold up like 90% of the grid for a good while. So he's a good driver. He has the pace. His straight line speed was great as well, but he was just doing really well with the ERS to have enough on that big long straight after Eau Rouge, because he knew that's where he'd get overtaken the most. I know eventually he did. To hold up for that long, it was pretty impressive, yeah.
Absolutely, and obviously, before I hand you over to Leo, Blue, it's obviously been a difficult season. You've had some low moments this season, I think. You know, you would say to me how you've had, you know, unlucky moments where you've disconnected, you've had collisions with drivers. Does this podium make it worth it, or do you want more?
Of course. Look, of course, I always want more, but yeah, I'll take a podium when I get it. It's only my second one or third one, I think, at this stage, so happy to have it. But yeah, although the aim is for more now, but it's just my pace isn't really there. And as you said, my unluckiness with even turn one, I thought I was struck again, but no, luckily today, luck was on my side for once.
Absolutely. Well, Qatar next week, round number 8. After that, 4 races to go. So, how are you feeling for Lusail?
Yeah, I'm actually excited because I won it in FA2. So I know I have pace around it. I don't mind the track. It's just tough to overtake. So I know that if I'm down in Mr. P7 again, then it will be difficult to overtake unless there's a few incidents and stuff like that. But I have pace, so I'll just go out and give it what I can.
Yeah, that's it. Leo, do you have any words for Bluefoot, or?
No, I've just got to say, you drove a great race, Blue. You kept it clean, most importantly. So
Yeah.
that's all that can really be talked about, obviously.
Yeah, that was the goal. Like, when I got it up, I was like, right, just for once, keep it clean, don't get anything. I think I have 2 penalties, but that was until right near the end, so I didn't mind that. But yeah, when I saw penalties, I do, and I could hear the stream as well saying, I didn't even know I could get P2. I thought it was P5, P4 maybe, but when I saw like the P2 being a chance, I was like, go, go, go. Obviously, that didn't happen, but I'm glad just to get onto the podium anyway.
Right, so if that's everything, well done again, Blue. Obviously, it's great to. I'm happy to see that you I know because you were in a bit of a doubt that you'd stick it out this season because you just weren't getting any luck. So I am happy to see that you stuck through it, and Belgium, as you said, isn't one of your best tracks, and you've come out on top in a podium. So it just kind of shows that anything can happen in a race. People exceed the track limits, the weather, all can play in effect. Like you probably had Ty from AFTV on your side today. It's been raining. So yeah, look, you had a bit of luck on your side today, but I think you've needed it, you've deserved it. So well done on the podium, and just give it your best then for the rest of the season.
Will do. Right, see you later, lads.
See you later, Blue. Talk to you soon. Right, let's get our race winner in here. Hyper, how are we?
Alright.
This win's not being taken away this week, don't you worry. There's no track limit penalties or anything to possibly hinder you, but you drove a phenomenal race. Another win.
Yeah. Well, I guess today is gonna be the day that's gonna
I knew a song was coming. I actually pictured it in my head.
You said it on the stream and I was like, I've got to get the guitar.
I did, I pictured it. I said it like, he'll have a song for us. But it was beautiful performance, really good on the chord there, so at least you didn't butcher it, to be fair. That would have been bad. Oh. But talk us through your quali. You're still going.
No, I'm only joking.
Your quali, your last lap.
Pure shite.
Yeah. It definitely didn't look easy.
What I did right between the sessions is I went back into time trial and got my previous setup because I'd fucked up whilst putting in the setup I have, and I put the rear ride height too low. So loads of downforce through the corners, but on the used tyres I was already sliding a wee bit through Radeon and then hit a bump and just boom off into the wall.
Yeah. No, you seem to slide a lot. I've noticed that even in Canada, you were sliding a lot around the place. It was like,
No,
this guy seems to
Canada was
slip.
talent issues.
True, true. Um, but obviously, yeah, you took the win there. You managed the strategy very, very well. So obviously, I'm assuming you're happy with that result, and it's 25 points towards catching Fran in the Drivers' Championship. You have Qatar next week. How are you feeling for that one?
I don't know. I'm quick at Qatar, but I also think it's too easy to stay with people. Like I don't know if anyone like understands what I say. I feel I drive a lot like Vettel. Where when I have the car, the clean air, I'm gone.
Yeah.
But if I can't get that, I'm stuck behind someone for 10, 15 laps. Cough, cough, Canada. That's what I find with that. So if we're in Qatar and there's a huge train forms, which if Spa is anything to go by, we could have a train to P9.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, one mistake and you're either in the wall or you're down 4 positions and you're never seeing them again.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I know Qatar is a hard place to overtake, and it's definitely one where you follow along in a train, and you're sitting there for a while. So it is one of those tracks, but I suppose you have to just pick your moments. As I was saying to Leo tonight on track, you pick your moments where you overtake and you make it stick. I suppose you kind of have to apply that same
Pretty
logic
much what I
to
did in Poo
Qatar. Yeah. Leo, any
Well, not
words
too
for Hyper here, the guitarist?
Yeah, just one thing I want to ask is obviously overtaking Belgium can be difficult in that DRS train. How do you know that it was the moment to go for it when obviously it was you and I believe Max going through at the same time on Joker?
Well, honestly, since this game started, I've taken a very different approach to how I drive. Last game, I would have probably not overtaken much at Spa, tracks where it's hard to overtake. This year, I've decided, fuck it, let's study this contact model, see how I can get away with it. And I've just been sending it more, knowing that if I hit something, neither of us are going to go out.
That's what
it's basically a Senna style where you just say, make the corner or take the contact.
Yeah, and I
like,
think
it's not the most legal if you do it wrong. But if you do it right, you send it, and actually, prime example, it was at the end of the Kemmel Straight here. I did it to Quiet Boy. You just can close the door pretty much because you're at the apex first. The FIA rules for some reason are allowing that, so you may as well take them.
yeah, it's a good thing I'm not stewarding your driving, Hyper, because I'm a little bit less lenient on that than the actual FIA. My other question is, obviously, rain hit just before that safety car came out, and I know you sent me that voice message during the race, which I was very thankful for. The whole stream got to hear it for you. But obviously, you were the guy that timed it pretty much perfectly on that stop. You got back ahead of Max, and did that one lap older tyre that you had over them hamper you in any way, or do you think it was
honestly, because obviously the setup, it was quite stable setup, even though it was 0 wings on the rear. It actually helped because it meant I could slide a bit more on the entrance of corners in the wet. So I could actually stick it in and say, yep, this will stick now, because the car will grip up on the front and correct it once I'm in.
Yeah, and you're a guy that likes that sort of pointy car. I've noticed while racing with you. Obviously, you apparently don't like how pointy I drive it because
No,
you just scream and cry as soon as you get one of my customized setups.
they're rotten.
But was that helping you, or was that a bit of a hindrance at times? I did notice your second effort on tyres in qualifying, you locked the rears a bit, and that was kind of the lap gone.
No, the second effort in qualifying is I got blocked. I was up on time on the used tyres, and I got blocked into, where was it? You know the downhill hairpin?
Oh, yeah.
McLaren sat on the apex just before there, and I obviously had to fucking full send it round them and then try and make the corner, and I was just like, Jesus.
That's. But it was a good race for you overall, Hyper. I mean, you showed your talents on full display there. Obviously, I think the wet and all the chaos that happened behind you helps. That clean air is somewhat a cheat code in this game, but do you think you're going to be able to pull this performance out over the next couple of races now as we come towards the season close?
I don't know what we actually have coming up.
So we have Qatar next.
Yeah.
We have Zandvoort, which I know how you do at Zandvoort.
Yeah. Then I think Singapore,
Monaco, and Austria.
Yeah.
Singapore, Monaco, Austria could be a very interesting end, especially because I've got some information about Fran over the next few races. He said stuff to me. So I very well could be leading the championship going into Singapore.
Oh, yeah.
That'll all depend on everyone else on the grid. Do you think you're going to be able to
Qatar
bring everything back?
A podium in Qatar is as good as a win because of the DRS trains and the slipstream trains. And then what was it after that? Zandvoort. I'm definitely gonna have to fuck around with setups because is it reverse Zandvoort or normal?
Normal.
No, normal.
Oh, fuck's sake. Well, we'll see. We'll see with Zandvoort. Zandvoort, I don't like it as a track. Well, at least in these F1 cars, I didn't mind it on the old games, but because the car actually could grip up mid corner, unlike this game.
Yeah.
Maybe you just need to use my setups, Hyper.
I did. They were shit.
Well, look, you've gotten you got the win there, Hyper. So obviously that's a big step towards Fran in the championship, and obviously it's some good points again for Mercedes tonight. So we'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy the weekend. And we'll be back here for Canada next week. So Hyper, thank you very much for Qatar next week.
I was
We'll be back for Qatar next week. So thank you very much, Hyper.
No bother. See ya.
See ya. Alrighty, folks, that will bring us to an end. So Hyper taking the 25 points that he needs to reduce that gap to Fran in the driver's title. Some big points there for Aston Martin there. Bluefoot getting the podium, which will certainly help them in their fight with McLaren, as well as Haas picking up some points to keep them in the hunt for the top 5. But yes, we are into Qatar next week, where after that we'll have 4 races left in the season, and with Fran potentially missing some races, Zandvoort being one of them, I think. It really is all to play for still in the championship, and even in the constructors it's still on right now between Alpine and Williams until some of the other teams start their catch up. But Leo, thank you for coming on tonight. I'm sure we have a good few incidents to deal with. Yeah, I can see them coming in now. We have 3 of them coming in. And yeah, we'll have Qatar next week. So hopefully some more exciting races to come.
That'd be the idea. Qatar will be very good. I can tell that for a fact with those DRS trains. Because one mistake on battery, one mistake on the exit of the final corner, everything's over.
Absolutely. So, yeah, let's call it there, folks. Hopefully you have all enjoyed tonight's race, and we will see you all very much again soon, next Thursday, 8 o'clock, around Lusail for round number 8. And hopefully we'll have a better turnout than we did tonight in terms of the grid. So yeah, looking forward to it. Good night, and I will see you all again very, very soon.